Welcome to Your Wealthy Self with me, Regina Martinelli. This show is about money and a whole lot more. Here we focus on you being able to expand your capacity for money, success, abundance, and inner and outer wealth. For you to have what's important to you inside and out so you can be your wealthy self. It's really about honoring your wholeness, that you are enough. We have so much going on in our society where it's like you need to be faster, you need to be producing more, you need to be accomplishing this or be in this place, versus just as you are right now, you are enough to have what's most important to you and to have the experiences you want to have. That's where I stand. Because what's most important to you could be freedom to have more success and money without guilt or shame. Or maybe it's ease in being unapologetically you, or more certainty in your sense of purpose, or feeling daily joy and fulfillment within yourself. Whatever it is that's most important to you, whatever makes you feel like you are wealthy both inside and out. I stand in that you can create that, and you can do it without struggle. You can actually do it with ease and certainty. So we do all of this through the lens of money. And we do it through the lens of money because it's one way to see how we engage with the world, because there's our conscious selves that are like, I deserve more, I deserve this, that, to have ease and abundance, or I feel worthy and deserving. And then there's a subconscious part of us that may not agree with that. We may not even be aware of it, or we may have inklings and certain symptoms of stress and anxiety and lack of clarity that is showing us that our conscious selves and our unconscious selves are not aligned. Because when they're not aligned, you can go out and do all the things, all the work, put all the effort, all the creativity, and have all of the best intentions and affirmations, and things still may not show up, or they may show up still as a struggle, or they may show up temporarily and then drop back down. And that to me is a very big sign that there's an unconscious pattern running that is actually sabotaging what your conscious self wants. So money is a great way to look at what is underneath, because we will not allow ourselves to have more than we believe we deserve. And I'm not talking about just about your conscious brain, but your unconscious brain. I hate saying unconscious brain. I mean your subconscious brain. You know what I'm talking about. If that part doesn't believe that you're worthy or deserving because of some childhood patterning or trauma or some belief that got inherited or created or conditioned, then you won't be able to have it the way you want it. And actually, the truth is you can have it the way you want it once you get those blocks out of the way. So that's why we look through the lens of money. But let's talk about today. Today's about taking up space and reclaiming you. So picture this. You're walking into a work meeting or an event like a family gathering, and immediately you feel that familiar tightness in your chest. And you scan the room and think, they don't really want me here. I don't really want to be here either. And you're already looking for the exit. You're ready to slip out quietly without saying goodbye to anyone, hoping no one notices. But wait, right there in that moment, you're standing on the threshold of abandoning yourself. You're about to tell yourself unconsciously, I'm invisible, I don't matter. But what if instead of shrinking away, you choose to take up your own space? What if you could walk into that dynamic and accept those coworkers, that family as they are, where they are, and be completely comfortable within yourself, however that dynamic unfolds? Today, we're talking about how you can lovingly walk into any situation and say what you need to say, not by force, but by acting within integrity with yourself. This is so very common. That moment when you feel yourself shrinking, becoming invisible is a strategy to avoid the tension, to not deal with the alarm bells that are going off in your body, the chaos, the nervousness, the overwhelm. But today we're talking about reclaiming your right to exist fully in your own life. The first thing to notice when you're on that threshold moment is to recognize when you're about to abandon yourself. You're just sucking it up to be there, and you're watching the clock, figuring out how much longer you need to stay before you can leave without causing any upset, whether it's, again, a meeting, an event, a family gathering. You may even make chit chat about the plate, the appetizers on, or your kids' camp schedule, or how work week has been, because it feels safer not to say what's really going on within you. We avoid sharing our frustrations, overwhelms, and uncertainties. We don't say how chaotic our lives feel, or that we can't seem to stop rushing to every activity, meeting, or event, and yet we still always feel behind, no matter how fast we get there, how much we rush, or how early we leave the house. We don't share that we want real connection, to be understood and to be validated for who we are right now, to feel seen in the present. And how lonely it feels not to have that connection or understandings of our experience. Because when we choose to bury these feelings deep down and not share some sliver how we are feeling, we are assuming others will not understand, or that others have never felt this way, or we're not worthy of being seen the way we want to be seen. And what's so important to notice about this is that in this, we are turning away from ourselves, our authentic feelings, to stay behind that facade that everything's okay. And it's okay that things aren't okay. It is okay to say that things are not okay. Because essentially, this is one way that we abandon what we want, whether it's connection or being heard or simply being present, by choosing to make ourselves invisible, by not sharing what's going on, rather than take up our own space. We've all been around people who take up their own space, or who say something like, I had it today. I was up against the wall about this thing. You can actually feel yourself take a deeper breath, and like your solar plexus, like your belly actually softens, because you're like, they're actually sharing something. And if they can be more real, I can be more real. And I see this so often with clients who don't allow themselves to go there, when they're doing all the parenting things, taking care of the house, the kids, the job, cleaning, cooking, going to work or volunteering at school or community projects. Their biggest complaint is that their families and their communities don't know what's really going on under the surface. And it's hard to get out of bed. It's hard to own their purpose unless they're giving to someone else or taking care of something else. They feel that void of purpose, or being that void of being worthy to exist, because all of their attention has been on helping others live their lives. I don't know if you've ever felt this way, but it's like basically you're outsourcing your own value to the care of someone else. And there's nothing wrong with this. It's fine to do and be this way. It's only an issue if it causes you stress, constriction, or an inability to feel good within yourself, or if it's exhausting. You know this experience when you've turned away from yourself. There's that moment when you feel yourself becoming smaller, when your voice gets quieter and your presence dims. It's not dramatic. It's subtle, like slowly turning down the volume on yourself until you're barely audible, even to yourself. This is how we unconsciously tell ourselves, I don't matter. What I'm experiencing doesn't matter. And there are physical and emotional signals that go along with this. It feels like you'll just notice sometimes your chest tightens, your shoulders hunch inward, the way your energy pulls back like a turtle retreating into its shell. Your body knows before your mind does that you're about to step back and shrink your self-expression. Even subconsciously, you scan the room, looking for evidence that you don't belong, collecting every sideways glance or missed greeting as proof that they don't want me here. But what if those moments aren't really about you at all? What if they're just people being people, lost in their own worlds, in their own patterns, in their own belief systems, their own lack of connection and belonging? The shift from victim to your own agency is everything. When you recognize you're making a choice, even if it's to leave, you maintain your power and your dignity rather than slinking away wounded. The difference between strategic withdrawal, which is self-care, versus self-abandonment, which can be harmful to yourself. Sometimes leaving is the most loving thing you can do for yourself, especially when you're overwhelmed or your boundaries are being crossed, or when you need to recharge. But self-abandonment, however, is leaving because you've decided you don't deserve to be there, or how you feel or what you have to say doesn't matter. The difference lies in whether you're moving towards something good for yourself or running away from your own worth. So taking your space without force, it's the art of presence without aggression. Your space versus their space, and understanding healthy boundaries aren't about taking from others. Think of it like a room with plenty of chairs. You're taking your seat doesn't mean someone else loses theirs. Your presence isn't a subtraction from anyone else's experience. It's an addition to the whole room's energy because you have something to add to that tapestry. A tapestry that's full of color and texture and vibrancy. And it may take a few more minutes to find the opening or be patient. Obviously, we won't barge in or give up entirely, but you wait with intention. And you stay present, watching for natural places for the moment your voice is welcome rather than intrusive. And how to engage without feeling false or performative. Because you don't need to put up a show or become someone else to deserve space. Simply showing up as yourself, whether that's tired, exhausted, quiet, animated, overwhelmed, or at peace, is enough. Authentically has its own gravitational pull. It's like I said before, when someone speaks their truth, like, hey, how are you? Oh, we're fine. Versus, hey, how are you? You know, it's really up to it this week. It was a huge bummer. I don't know if I could get out of bed. I was really, really up against it. A simple, direct communication as an act of self-respect, like just naming it, doesn't mean you have to go into that hole and wallow in it and pull people down with you. It's just stating it. When you do that, it's like there's room for more possibility to be shared, for more of them to be seen as well as you. It's also like when it's time to go and you can walk up to somebody and say, I wanted to say goodbye. That actually becomes revolutionary when you usually sneak out the back door. It's not about them needing to hear it. It's about you honoring your own presence and your own departure. Like, it matters that you leave, and it's okay to leave, but you're going to take your energy with you. The energy of arrival, of how your internal state affects others and how they receive you. It's also so interesting because when you walk into a room believing you belong there, others sense it immediately. I'm not talking about from ego, again, or for an aggressive, like, I'm taking up space, or look at me. It's just like, yeah, I'm here. I exist. I have a right to exist. Your nervous system speaks to their nervous system before words are ever exchanged. If you arrive defensive or apologetic, you're asking others to carry that burden of reassuring you that you're welcome to be there. But the integrity within yourself is about acting from your center, not from reaction. Not from reaction of, I'm sorry, or I'm scared I don't fit in, so I'm gonna assert myself. What this actually means in practice is it's not about never feeling nervous or uncertain. It's about not needing others to change their behavior for you to feel okay. You can be uncomfortable and still know you belong in the room. Not waiting for permission, the shift from reactive to proactive, instead of waiting for someone to turn to you to notice you, instead of hoping they'll include you, you include yourself. And you can include yourself without speaking. You can just include yourself. This isn't pushy. It's taking responsibility for your own experience, accepting others as they are. How this paradoxically gives you more power is so fascinating because other people realize, oh, they don't need me. But they actually become you actually then become more interesting and more attractive to be spoken to and engaged with. Because when you stop needing your coworkers, your family, or your community to be different, or meaning like you need them to acknowledge you or validate you or respect you or see you or value, when you don't need to do that, as you value, respect, see, and witness yourself, then you stop giving them the power to determine your worth. They can be distant, distracted, or difficult, and you can still choose how you show up authentically. There's also this thing called the love principle. You don't have to love everyone to treat them or yourself with dignity. Love isn't required for respect. You can acknowledge someone's humanity and engage with basic kindness and maintain your own boundaries, all without manufacturing feelings you don't have. The difference between people-pleasing and genuine consideration for others is people-pleasing is performed for your own safety or approval. This is most often based in a childhood trauma that is unresolved. That it's not safe to need something or to speak up or to be seen. So then our safety patterns go on of how to be more pleasing or not to be too displeasing, so that we feel safe, we feel liked, we belong. And again, that's not what a healthy adult version of us does. It's what our young, traumatized self does from patterns that got laid down. They were strategies about how to keep us safe and not to become a target. Because genuine consideration flows from a secure place. When you're genuinely considerate, you can say no without guilt and yes without resentment. You're responding to the situation, not managing your own anxiety through others' reactions or tracking for approval. Because you're actually checking in with your own compass on what you desire, what's important and authentic to you. This is part of building your unshakable foundation. And it's an internal home base. You are creating an unshakable sense of self that travels with you. It's always with you. And your relationship with yourself is the only relationship that never ends. All relationships end. Either someone goes away or someone dies, except your relationship for yourself. So creating that foundational, unshakable relationship with yourself is so important because you're always with you. And this is that voice inside that says, I know who I am regardless of the room you walk into. This is not arrogance. It's just quiet certainty that your worth isn't up for debate, even when others seem to question it, right? But are they really questioning your worth? Or are they questioning their own through the lens of looking at yours? Because when we have a good sense of our worth and our enoughness, what people think doesn't matter. When it matters, when people are like, oh, she's too this or that, or look at that, they're actually doing that in response to their own feelings about themselves. It really is never about us. They're actually judging their own worth by looking at you. So it helps to have the practice of micro choices. These are small daily decisions that reinforce your worth to help build that unshakable foundation. So every time you speak up at a meeting, set a small boundary or choose an authenticity over approval. You're building evidence for yourself. These tiny acts accumulate into a foundation that builds self-respect, validity, and taking up space, and safety in being authentically you and sharing your truth. I get asked this a lot. What do I do when others' energies try to destabilize me? Well, some people carry chaos or criticism like it's a purse. They never leave home without it. I'm related to a few. Learning to stay regulated when others aren't is like having an internal anchor. You can witness their storm without being swept away by it. Remember, it's not about you. Their upsets, irritation, judgments are none of your business. These are symptoms from old stuck patterns that they are running, most likely that started in their childhood from traumas in their own lives that you can't heal. And all the judgment that they do isn't going to heal it either. It just reinforces it for them. And it's unfortunate that that then becomes the world that they live in. And that becomes the energy of the body that they embody and have to deal with on a daily basis. You just happen to be today's target, but you don't have to respond to them. So I have a 6-year-old, and I will tell him as a kindness, I'll give him transition time. Like, we're getting ready to leave a play date. So he has 10 minutes to transition to get used to the idea that the fun will be ending. So I tell him, hey, we're getting ready to leave. We're going to leave in about 10 minutes. His immediate response is, no. And I'm like, okay. It's got this terse face. And I'm like, oh, I don't choose to interact with that reaction. I just let him voice his preference of not wanting to leave. I get it. Who wants to leave a play date? He can have that preference. Plus, we're not leaving in that moment. This is his warm up to us leaving. This is just me gently letting him know. And if I choose to engage with his no, then it becomes a battle between he and I. And all of our attention on pleasantly leaving or starting to wind down or getting ourselves ready gets amplified into this battle. And no one wins in that battle. We both end up feeling upset, righteous, and not heard or respected. This is the same stance I take around people who outwardly judge, criticize, or share their preference about things I may do or may not do. They have a right to their judgments and their preferences, just like my son does too. But it's not my job to change them. It's not my job to make sure I'm pleasing to them. So I treat it the same way I do with my son. I say what I need. I allow the response, and I don't take it personally. Because I know in a minute or two, we'll be focused on something else. And with a child, I'm in charge as the parent to start to guide them in a different direction. Not with other adults, not with other people. It's none of my business. It's also another way I'll describe it is if you're someone who puts services or products out in the world and you're worried about, will people be able to afford this? Well, I want to offer this group, but I don't know if they can afford it. I don't know if this is priced too high. I don't know if this is worth it, blah, 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 blah. We'll put it out there and find out. Don't get into somebody else's wallet. That's none of your business. And it's never about the money. It's always about the value. And does the value line up with what they're wanting? And do they see the value? It's never about the money. So don't get in somebody else's wallet because you don't see what they are valuing in there. You just see dollars. So having this ability to ground yourself in it's not about me, and that's their own patterning running and it's not my business to deal with. And being able to let that go, everyone exhales like, oh, okay. It creates a ripple effect. Your groundedness gives others permissions to be themselves too. You're not trying to change what you need or deny, and you are acknowledging it, putting it out there and letting it be heard. On a larger scale, anything that you do that makes you happy radiates and raises the consciousness for everyone. Your happiness is good for all of us. There are a few simple things you can do to get back into your body when you feel yourself shrinking. These are for your nervous system to calm down and reset. And if you want to do a deeper work to shift what sets off your nervous system in the first place, and you want to transform it permanently, you can reach out to me. We can do some one-on-one work, or you can join one of my live online courses, and I'll talk more about that later. But here are a few simple things that you can do to reset and come back into yourself. So one is to drop into your heart. If this is your head, this is my head, and just drop it into your heart. Close your eyes and just feel like your head drops down here. And take 3 deep breaths through your heart. And then while you do this, you want to repeat to yourself in your head, my love is all that is necessary to be known and felt by myself and others. Let me say that again. My love is all that is necessary to be known and felt by myself and others. This helps to quiet that people-pleasing urge, because it's basically saying, you showing up is enough. And also in this place, you can say to yourself, I am safe in this moment, right now as I am. Or I would not be able to take these deep breaths. I am safe. I am alive. Deep breaths. This helps to quiet that reptilian brain that's at the base of our skull that sets up our fight, flight, freeze, fawn stage, which activates your nervous system to an elevated level to create anxiety and overwhelm, where you want to bolt from the room. This part of your brain needs to know that you are safe and you can't run in fear and you can't run in fear and take deep breaths. So the fact that you are breathing deep communicates to that part of your brain that you are not in fight, flight, or fawn or freeze. You are in rest mode. So it helps to calm the nervous system. And I love this next question because it's an integrity question. Helps you get aligned within yourself. So after you've kind of taken those breaths and done those sayings to yourself, ask yourself, what would I do, say, or share if I truly believed I belonged here and was safe to be me? What would I do, say, or share if I truly believed I belonged here and it was safe to be me? Then take a deep breath and just wait for the answer. Because whatever that answer is doesn't mean you have to share it or do it. It's just good information. It's useful to see how safe you feel and to hear what you authentically would like to do or say. It gives voice to that part of you that has been denied, restricted, or closed off. And giving it a voice validates it. It can be liberating even if you choose from there to not share it. Because when it's your choice to share or not share versus a restriction or a hiding, then that's the power of taking up your own space. So in closing, I want to say your existence is not an imposition. It's a gift. You are enough just as you are right now. And if you want, I suggest noticing one moment this week where you can practice taking up space, your own space more. As I mentioned before, if you want to do deeper work and permanently shift some of those stuck patterns that are running, do that. You can reach out to me if you want to have more freedom, ease, clarity, and joy in your daily life. You can reach out to me at Your Wealthy Self at e360tvlive.com, and I'll be teaching a live course starting early in September called Your Magical Self. It's really about owning who you are and your creational authority. So if you want more information, you can also email me at yourwealthyself at e360tvlive.com. If you got something out of today's show, please share it. There's enough fear in the world. Let's create more joy. I want to help you get the support you're seeking. So let me know what questions you have or topics you'd like us to tackle by emailing my team at yourwealthyself at e360tvlive.com. Make sure you tune in next week as we continue to use money as a lens to revise the old beliefs holding you back from having more clarity, freedom, appreciation, and daily joy, and whatever is most important to you.